It's the Harris Football Podcast with your host, Christopher Harris.
Welcome! Hey, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Chris, and this show has summer teeth. Summer teeth, some aren't. Hello there, you children of the possum. How are you? Thank you for listening. Welcome back to the yacht. Let's get your weekend kicked off right with some fun. We will start having a look at the Thursday night game. The Lions and Cowboys score 74 combined points and mostly pay off everyone you needed, with a notable exception, which I will get to. The Cowboys' resurgence probably coming too late in the season, and this loss puts their playoff lives in the unlikely category, while the Lions rescue themselves for sure and keep their distance in this game, scoring pretty much whenever they needed to score. But, there is the takeaway that Brian Branch hurts an Achilles. The team is without Terrion Arnold, a corner, for the rest of the year. His replacement, Thomas Harper, got concussed in this game. They hope they can get Kirby Joseph back for Week 15. I think, my message would be certainly don't fear the Lions defense as a matchup for your opposing players. They are really, really beaten up. And then for the Cowboys, after playing pretty well against the Eagles and the Chiefs, certainly don't need to look at the Dallas defense as some must stay away either. The main drama there was going into the game, remember all that time we devoted to Amon-Ra St. Brown's ankle injury and his potential replacements? Yeah, forget about that. St. Brown was active. Apparently now we know for sure he's a bit of a diva, but, we forgive him. He's got a lot of company among wide receivers, but he played. And, once we knew he was going to be active, the message was those bids that you might have spent on Isaac Tesla or Tom Kennedy were useless. How could you possibly start Tesla? Get ARSB into your lineup. And then for most of that game, St. Brown didn't do a lot. And Tesla also didn't do that much, but taunted us from our benches, scoring a red zone touchdown early third quarter. But I can't see a way that most people used him. I know it says that St. Brown in the box score has 9 targets. It's kind of fake. I think almost half of those targets were Jared Goff throwaways at his feet, at St. Brown's feet, to avoid a sack. You had to have him in a lineup, obviously. But he was sitting on 5 for 45 with 3 minutes left in that game. And the talking point across the NFL world and the fantasy world this morning would certainly have been like, oh, what a mistake, what a bust. Don't you know the lesson has to be, don't get fooled when injured guys play. You should never play injured guys. But yeah, then when the Lions really needed it, it was a hugely important catch. They're winning by 7, trying to get a first down, burn the clock. They call play action on second down, and the Cowboys bit on the run, and St. Brown ran across wide open, took it 37 yards. That saved his night and your night, and it ended the competitive portion of the game. So that did work out. Jamison Williams also worked out. Jahmyr Gibbs scores 3 times. David Montgomery scores once. So all good with the Lions. The Cowboys also paid off in this shootout, except for one guy. I'll get to him. Dak Prescott had 2 interceptions. Obviously, if you watched the game, neither was his fault. One was deflected by his own duck-handed receiver. The other, in emergency mode, down 2 touchdowns at the very end, where the receiver hands it to a defender. Javonte Williams, not a massive game, but when they got the goal line, he needed 2 carries, but he did pound it in. The Cowboys moved the ball all night, but settled for field goals, really super long Brandon Aubrey field goals that kept them in the game, but also, were reflective of a need to continually come back. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens both started slow. Ryan Flournoy was pretty involved in the first half, even before the Lamb injury. He got a deep ball in the first quarter, no good. 4 other targets in the first half. It was weird. Lamb racked up big numbers on a couple of drives mid and late second quarter, and he should have had a deep touchdown second quarter, roasted his man with a great route, but Prescott threw it deep out of bounds for some reason. But early third quarter, Lamb was sitting on 6 for 121. He tries to make a one-handed catch in the end zone. His head bangs off the turf. His hands do that fencing thing, very clearly concussed. When their hands do that, feels like a bad one. He was out of this game and will be in a race against time 10 days until week 15 against the Vikings. So clearly, this should be the moment when Bernie Pickens gathers himself up and picks up the slack and leads this offense. Except for one of the only times this season, George Pickens was in attendance. So listen, I have a pre-existing bad, feeling about George Pickens. You know this. I was loud wrong about whether you should draft him back in August. And my contention in August was never about talent. It was about the knucklehead factor. So, okay, you definitely have to take observations about last night and Pickens' performance with a big grain of salt, because Pickens hasn't been the raging a-hole we saw for years in Pittsburgh most of 2025. And I admit it. I am triggered. You see what you saw last night, and it echoes all those times with the Steelers where he lost his head, played like a dog, didn't rise to the occasion. If you showed me Pickens' entire Pittsburgh career and then showed me this game, I can draw a very straight line. But for our purposes, obviously, we can't ignore everything that came in between, all the good these past 3 months. Last night, Pickens was old Pickens. He was a loser and a dog. And the big second half production for Flanoy, yes, sure. I'm sure some of it is Pickens being double covered, but I don't know. Even then, it's overstated. Herbstreit's showing you a replay. Look at this double coverage. That's cover 2, man. That's a deep safety. He's standing there. That just means you can't run directly to him. There's a safety on both sides. Is that really double coverage? You can catch passes. You are allowed to beat the corner short and then, catch a pass, aren't you? Now, Pickens had a couple of routes that he gave up on early in the game, and Dak threw it anyway. Maybe that's partly on Dak, but maybe don't give up on your routes. There was one certainly where Pickens didn't come back to the ball, but for sure, late first half, he got a deep ball, drew pass interference that would have been very important for Dallas, except for Jake Ferguson, who just fumbled a few minutes before, got called for face masking a pass rusher to nullify the interference. A moment later, Pickens catches a slant. He gets called for blatantly face masking the defender while running his route. You think we're not watching? Do you think you're not going to see that? First play of the third quarter, another slant to Pickens. That's the one where the defender meets the route, and Herbstreit keeps saying, yeah, that was deflected. I don't know, man. The one replay that you had of it, it sure looked like it bounced off of Pickens' hands for an interception. And Dak certainly was giving Pickens a talking to about his routes on the sideline. We saw that. Later, third quarter, on a 4th and 5 in the red zone, the Cowboys go, and Pickens makes a tough catch, but then doesn't go down. I'm going to be a superhero. Stupid. He fumbles. He's lucky his teammate recovers. He gets called for a pretty obvious offensive pass interference, nullifying a different big play. And then on the 2 drives at the end, each time they started the drive trying to hit Pickens with a deep ball, neither time was it complete. One of them, he kind of gave up on the catchable ball. Both times, he then immediately put his finger in the air to come out of the game because he was tired after the first play of a series. I know, I'm being a jerk. I'm really scratching an itch. I'm taking one night and I'm blowing it out of proportion. We can't act on this. We can't be sitting George Pickens in the fantasy playoffs. This is, in fact, an irrelevant conversation. I can't help it. It was the kind of bow wow performance like you read about. It was really, really, really soft. In a situation where Dallas needed it most, it just, to me, feels like it lurks with this dude. It was a horrible call by me this summer. I'm not making excuses for that at all. Just, the dude needs a contract. And that's the kind of effort that he gave when he needs a contract in a huge spot where the other guy gets hurt. I mean, I'll just say it right now. I don't think the Cowboys are handing him a big contract after that game. I think they look at that film and go, oh, we didn't think we had that guy. There's that guy again. I think he's getting franchise tagged. I think he's back. I think he's getting tagged. And then probably holding out over the summer. And then people are still going to take him in the second round of a fantasy draft. And then we'll see.
Today's kickoff.
Okay, on today's show, I appreciate you letting me scratch that itch. Coming up, we'll have 2 guests. Oops, all guests, the rest of today's podcast, which I think you'll enjoy. First up, Jake Trowbridge will be here to goof around and pick some DFS teams for DraftKings, and then it'll be our fantasy playoff preview, getting those playoff-bound fantasy teams in shipshape, ready to go, cousin Josh will join for that. It's going to be really fun. Thanks for listening. We are sponsored by Thursday Boots. What a time of year for it. I understand in places where there's weather, it's been very cold. There's been rain. There's been snow. Get yourself or somebody you love a nice pair of boots. Thursday Boots, been with us forever. I have pairs of Thursdays from 10 years ago. They've held up great. I still love them. These boots look amazing. They look like a fashion boot, but they are constructed like a work boot, so they really last. Give a pair of boots for the holidays, and your giftee will have them forever. They have boots for men and women, and you can get a gift card so they can pick out what they like. I would love for you to check them out at ThursdayBoots.com. I don't have a promo code for you because these boots are already priced to move. They've got leather coats. They've got leather sneakers. Just check out all the stuff they have. You can certainly let them know where you heard about them, but mostly go have a look. ThursdayBoots.com.
Today's guest.
You've got to pick up every stitch when you scratch that DraftKings itch, or start 2 carries and 1 inch. Must be that old Jake Trowbridge.
And our first guest today, we play that with a purpose, frankly. We play it with a purpose because it's a big week for the show. First of all, Jake Trowbridge is here, and he's back on the free side after a week behind the paywall, where he just, if you weren't there, man, he'd let loose. It's a big week for 2 reasons. 2 reasons, Jake. Number one, big week for Finger League because of the Justin Herbert injury, obviously. The huge.
Of course.
Huge points were scored. I got the points. I was watching live, so I saw it first, so I got the points.
You got him this time.
I got him this time. So I'm ahead in Finger League for this week. My big matchup against
Dignity.
Dignity and that's what we call Minka Kelly. We call her Dignity. It's her code name in the chat. The other reason it's a big week is because we're playing that song. Land the plane for me. Why are we playing that song? And what did you get to go do 2 nights ago?
Well, a couple of nights ago, I got to go see one of our most avid listeners, Rhett Miller. If you don't know him or his music, fix that really quick. But I got to see him perform here in Madison, Wisconsin, which was delightful. And as I was waiting after the show to chat with him a little bit, this song, the original song, I have to say, not the walk-up version of the song, came on over the PA system. And that's not a song that you just hear out in the world, or at least that I hear out in the world. I don't hear it at the grocery store, So it felt very kismet that was playing as I was waiting to chat with Rhett for a bit, who is just the best, by the way. Shout out to him.
Unbelievable. I would consider him a good friend of mine. He has a lot of friends. He's a lot more friends than I do. So I'm not positive that I'm a good friend of his, but he's definitely a good friend of mine. He's in Large. We're good pals for sure. And that's awesome that you got to see him play. And shout out to Rhett. He immediately texted us both a picture of the two of you, which made me smile quite a bit. What didn't make us smile quite so much was last week's performance. The paywall had a bad effect on us, I guess. Right. I finished 340th in the contest last week. You only could dream of such a thing. You finished 447th. You had 5
gentleman's 447.
You had 5 DraftKings snowflakes, which those are not good. The snowflakes are not good. We both had Jackson Smith and Jigba, and that went real bad real quick. So yeah, we have to. JSN did us wrong, but he'd done us right a lot. Or he'd done me right a lot before that, so we're gonna be okay. Per usual, if you'd like to come play in our DraftKings contest, there's a link in today's show notes, and it's $5 to play. And DraftKings makes no money off of it. They don't take any percentage. All the money goes back to the winners, which sometimes includes Jake and myself. I'll have you know, he forgot to mention it Wednesday on the Paywall show, but Paywall Andy cashed in our contest last week. He texted me and let me know $10 American directly into his warm little pocket. It's okay. Paywall Andy's allowed.
Is that the only rule? Non-paywall Andy just has to just keep it all contained.
Suck it.
Yeah, suck it, paywall Andy.
No, non-paywall. Paywall Andy's we're okay.
Suck it, non-paywall Andy.
Because Freeside Andy was on the show on Monday, and he threatened to mention that in your and my contest that we have every week that he cashed, but he forgot. Thank goodness. I'm not mentioning it now. All right, so we are gazing ahead at week 14, the last week in which there will be buys. However, it's kind of like, last week we had so many weird island games that it felt like a luxury this week to have as many selections and possibilities as we did. What were you looking at to get this going?
Well, it's funny that you say that. It did and it didn't feel like a luxury because, there's still a lot of injuries to contend with, and I don't love that. I don't love the scroll as much as you know that I love to tink. Even that gave me preemptive heartburn just having to have a lot of these guys in my lineup at the time. But I tried to look at this as objectively as possible. And where I landed is that I want some of these Packers for once. I'm not normally a homer take the Packers, and I'm guessing from that sound that you became a Packers fan this week too.
I don't mind being on the same players as you, but I stacked Jordan Love with Christian Watson.
Oof, I did not stack him with Watson. I diverged and went even cheaper. I got him with Wicks at 3,900. Okay. Wicks is technically questionable as of the time. My thought process here, maybe you had a similar thought process, is that I actually expected a lot of people to go after the ground game in this one and say, all right, let's get, Josh Jacobs, pick either Swift or Monangai. I think everybody's fairly reasonably priced. It's going to be a cold weather game. I don't know. It seems like that could be the mentality, and I wanted to pivot away from that. Was that your thought, or you just really expect a high point scoring affair regardless?
What was did I have a thought process, Jake? That's a great question by you. Did I have one? Legendarily not that itchy when it comes to this stuff. So sort of like pick it and stick it. That's me. I started with a stack. I started with the Love Watson stack. I'll tell you what did it for me is seeing Christian Watson's price at 5,200 when that's weird to me, a little weird to me. I recognize that it's full PPR, but I ranked him in my top 15 for standard receivers for this week. That's something to do with, a bunch of nonsense around him in the ranks. Like, cool, Devonta Smith, I don't really want to do that. Terry McLaurin, I could see it working out, but maybe not. Justin Jefferson, no, thank you. Zay Flowers, Watson is like floating skyward in these ranks, entirely not of his own doing. So I don't want to say that it's like malpractice, but you're right. Wicks at 3,900 coming off a big Thanksgiving, cool. But that is kind of a little bit of a dart throw. It's a one-time thing so far this year. Watson's just consistently been terrific, and to only get him at 5,200, he was like the first guy that landed anchored right in the lineup, and then I kind of said, all right, well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to stack him with Love. I don't think my sticky fingers were any more complicated than that.
That makes sense. I love his cheap compared to a lot of the quarterbacks that I just don't have confidence in. Not that I have full confidence in Love, but comparatively speaking,
which
at
Love
the price.
Yeah, the big thing with Jordan Love is just the high variability. It's funny. I was talking to somebody, I think in the Discord actually, about like Love being a flatliner, and the person who I was messaging with was saying, the flatliners scare me emotionally. Just like the guys who are the Jalen Hurtses, the Jordan Loves, the guys who just seem not to have a pulse. And like I kind of understand when put it this way, when those guys have bad games, they don't give you good vibes. And you're a Packer fan, so like when Love is having a bad game and his facial expression never changes and his posture never changes, I'm sure, like personally, you're like, dude, do you care? Are you like?
Take offense. Scowl a little bit for me. Let me know that you feel something.
Which is silly, and like I kind of did say as much that I thought it was silly, but I tried to say it in a nice way, But by the same token, when they have success and they keep their heads, you go, oh, see, he expected this, I kind of feel like that's all nonsense, but there's high variability. Obviously, you're a Packer fan, you're living it every single week. You're just getting. Am I going to get Giants game Jordan Love? Am I going to get Lions game Jordan Love? I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. It is tough. I would have to also add that I put Dontayvion Wicks in my flex spot. I just want to get that out there. He does need the extra motivation. I don't want you to think that I would just give him the automatic wide receiver slot based on one performance. That's not how I roll. So I didn't do that. He is in my flex. I did add a little bit of extra flair from that game in at tight end. I don't know if you have any Bears on your roster, but Colston Loveland at 3,200. A little bit of this is just, yeah, he's naturally getting more involved in the offense. I do think that if it is a high-scoring affair like I suspect, I don't know that I really believe in DJ Moore most weeks. Roma Dunze is banged up. I don't know how much I love Luther Burden, although I almost put him in here because he's also so cheap. But Colston Loveland at 3,200 felt good for me.
Just to be clear, you believe DJ Moore exists?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure that he does. Well, I've read stories about him, so I'm sure.
You've played in the same division with him for a couple years. You've seen him out there. Like, you don't think he's a ghost.
I mean, I don't. Maybe that was a long time ago. That could have been anything and anybody. That could have been a fever dream for all I know. But no, I do think that DJ Moore. Watch him now pop off this entire game, and it's like 200 yards for DJ Moore. Just to spike.
A little badass. It's his autobiography is just called "I Exist." All right, running back. Where are you going?
I went really expensive at running back because I was afforded that because I went so cheap in so many other areas. So I went Devaughn Achane at 8,800 against the Jets. And then super chalky, you probably have him and this guy, if you believe in the chalk, James Cook at 7,800 against Cincinnati because Cincinnati stopped somebody or I'm going to keep doing this.
So James Cook I just couldn't afford because I don't think I went as cheap other places. I do have Achane in there. Cook is already. I wish I could prove it. I can't. But he was already listed in my honorable mentions. Like 100% agree that the numbers say it's a good matchup. Bengals defense has played a lot better the last 2 weeks, and Derrick Henry didn't exactly light the world on fire on Thanksgiving night. The fantasy stats are going to tell you because Henry scores a touchdown that everybody scores. But we all watched that game and saw against the Patriots and the Ravens, they kind of were a little stout. The way they're doing it, I would play the tight end against the Bengals. So Dalton Kincaid was he's on honorable mention for me too, because the way they're doing this is the linebackers are up and the safeties are back and the middle of the field is just wide open and they're saying, go ahead, throw it to the tight end. That's cool. So I'm not arguing at all with James Cook. I'm just wanting to stick up for the Bengals defense looking a little better. I did the opposite running back because he was cheaper. I did Chase Brown. If I could have 6,700, so it's 1,900 cheaper than James Cook if I could have afforded. That theory of like now I want to chase the Bills running defense. Okay, except for I just watched the Steelers against the Bills and they tried to run like crazy and they couldn't. So it's not foolproof. It's never foolproof. I mean, that's why a tink is born.
A Tink is Born. I'm pretty sure that was a Lady Gaga film, if I'm not misremembering that. But it's funny, I almost did put Chase Brown in this one too. Instead of Devaughn Achane, I'm glad that I did it. We would have overlapped either way. But
you got me going with Gaga. What's Gaga?
Anyways, to your point, Chris, it's more about the team and a coach and scheme than I think a lot of these stats. If you just look at the stat and you go, "Whoa, this is what always happens." Well, that's not what always happens, right? Except for the tight end thing, because that is wild against the Bengals. Yeah. And Dawson Knox, by the way, if Dalton Kincaid is out, I will pivot away from Colston Loveland down to Dawson Knox because he is that cheap. I'm not going to do that.
You'll tink a bargain. The man will tink a bargain. He'll do it.
That's right.
He'll just do it. So I had Achane, I had Chase Brown, I had Christian Watson. I feel like Alec Pierce was a little bit of a misprice. 5,100. Did he stand out to you at all?
He did. He was very nearly in this lineup. He is not though, so don't worry.
All right. Well, see, I don't have a problem with it. You're the worrier. I'm like, yeah, it's cool.
I was speaking to myself there. Yeah. Don't worry, Jay. It's fine.
You're speaking to Gaga.
That's right.
And my last wide receiver was Michael Wilson at 5,600, and this is born of not knowing Marvin Harrison's ultimate fate, but hadn't practiced going into Friday. We'll find out on Friday whether he's back. Marvin Harrison went, it clearly, I said in the film review on Monday, it was answered real quick. What does it look like when Harrison is back for Michael Wilson? Oh yeah, it looks bad. Doesn't look like they immediately came out and threw the first two passes to Marvin Harrison. Like, you're still our guy, buddy. You're still our buddy guy. Buddy guy, great drummer. And so like Michael Wilson wouldn't be the best pick if Harrison were to play. Am I going to tink away from him? We both know that I probably will forget, but I theoretically should. So
You're living dangerously.
since we have given you Wicks as a flex, we haven't found out a single wide receiver yet. I'm gonna guess, given your running backs, they're gonna be on the thrifty side.
Well, you might be surprised. One of them is not thrifty at all. And I'll kick it off with Davante Adams, who is back practicing and hopefully going to be in there to catch me another touchdown at 7,700. Of course, it's not even obviously just the touchdowns, but, it's mostly the touchdowns. And it does not seem, I don't think at this stage of the season, you can say it's a fluky thing. Matthew Stafford, is his best pal, best buddy guy in the end zone there.
Do they brunch?
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I haven't heard about the brunch.
It has to be. It has to be at least some after dinner drinks or something at this rate. But yeah, 7,700. It's, it's not Puka level of cost, but that's okay because Puka's not, I don't want to say disappointing, but for DFS purposes and how spendy he is, yeah, he's been disappointing. And I was a bit disappointed last week having him. So hopefully Adams is the guy. I went with another fella that you were chastising earlier, and I kept my mouth shut at that point because I understand why you chastise him. And yet at a certain point, his price is falling so much every week. I just want to be there to catch it on the one decent performance. I put Justin Jefferson in here. And I know it's horrifying. The quarterback, whoever it is, whatever it is, it's probably going to be real bad. But also the Washington defense, maybe it makes up for it just a little bit here. So 6,900, that's the cheapest he's been all season. Maybe it's not the cheapest that he will ever be. We'll see after this week, but I'm okay just saying everybody else has given up faith. I'll get him in here to pivot.
All right. That's a true GPP play, as we like to say. And then your third receiver.
Third receiver, very cheap, extraordinarily cheap. Devaughn Vele at 3,700. Because, I don't know. Why not? It might be okay. It might be like last week. Probably not. But it might be at least 10 points, And at 3,700, I don't know, 10 points. Sure, he could do it.
All right. Who haven't we talked about? For me, my flex is RJ Harvey. Again, I think maybe a little underpriced at 5,700. I don't expect a repeat of that weird Thursday night game for the Broncos against the Raiders. I think you get a boat race here, and it'll be whatever RJ Harvey wants to do. Tight end, I had Tyler Warren at 5,000. And no matter what I said about the Raiders, it doesn't matter. I'm still picking them at 2,000, as are you, obviously.
Obviously. I have $100 left to spend, but I will pocket that for now in case I need a tink.
Damn straight. Other players, other honorable mentions, if I was going to go cheaper at quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, don't hate it. Stack him with A.D. Mitchell for a grand total of 9,500. Don't hate it. You mentioned James Cook. I had Quinshon Judkins in this lineup for a long time. Tennessee's defense is good, but those two teams stink, and probably there's some yards there for him. They focus on him a lot. Jacoby Myers at only 5,700. That feels like it's not quite caught up yet. And we mentioned Dalton Kincaid at 4,300. I'm saying it at the very end of Jake's segment, but these picks are all in today's show notes. So if you already crashed your car, without me saying please don't crash your car, then please stay in the vehicle while the emergency folks are extracting you with the jaws of life. But everybody else, just check the show notes for our picks. And any VIP concert experiences coming up for you before the next time we speak?
Actually, I will be going to see Cake on Tuesday. Now, I don't know if Cake is going to be as gracious to me as Rhett was to chat afterwards. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe Cake listens to the podcast. It's possible.
It's a huge show, and it's mostly musicians who listen, obviously. So it's possible. All we can say is it's possible. Hey, it might even be Gaga. It's possible Gaga will be.
It could be. She could make a guest appearance for sure. I think she loves Cake. Who doesn't?
We are sponsored by Manscaped. Nothing says happy holidays like a perfectly groomed package. Okay, that's grown-worthy. Also true, Manscaped is the domain of body jokes. Let's trim up the hair wherever we've got it. I gotta say, this is another one where it's a great gift idea. These are body hair trimmers. I have them. I use them. They are incredibly well made, just satisfying to use, and you or your giftee will have them forever. At manscaped.com, you can find the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It's got the lawnmower to take care of the nether regions. You've got the weed whacker that lets you trim eyebrows and nose hair. I use these. They make an awesome, funny, but really useful gift. Plus, there's a holiday bonus. 2 free extra gifts. Manscaped boxer shorts and a toiletry bag. Give the gift of smooth this holiday season with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Get 15% off your entire order with code HarrisFootball, all one word, at manscaped.com. That's 15% off with the code HarrisFootball, all one word, at manscaped.com.
What would Cousin Josh say?
Take me home tonight. I don't wanna sit at tiny tables with my jeans up tight. Take me home tonight. Listen, honey, just like Jordan sang, be my ugly baby.
And I'm not sure we've covered it. It's our second guest, Cousin Josh. You can find him on Instagram at Detective Fish, Fisch. But Be My Ugly Baby, are you kidding me? It's back? Are you telling me Ugly Baby, the restaurant, is the Tortured You So all the 10 years ago? It's back?
Chris, I've gotten many texts already sent to me through Instagram, through my friends. Like, dude, you hear Ugly Baby? I'm like, of course, man. I'm in a New York City chat. You think I'm stupid? Yeah, it's coming back. It's not coming back around the corner from me. I think it's going to be in Williamsburg. But yeah, I'm pumped. Hopefully, put the cow soy back on the menu. I'm a huge supporter of them, and it's great to see them back on the New York City map. I won't be there opening day, but I'll be there in the first month.
They were cruel to you back in the day, but they were cool to everybody. That was the shtick of the restaurant, right? That's what they did.
Look, when you're eating at a hot spot in New York City and they offer you a table, you don't say no. That's just how it is. They make tables. They sit you in the corner. They could have put me in the kitchen, Chris. I'll go wherever they want. The food's great, so I'm great. I'm glad to have them back.
All right. Well, you're a decade more famous now, so they better treat you right. That's all I can say. The next time you hit Ugly Baby. So this is our fantasy playoff preview. We are in most leagues. I have a league where the playoffs start this week, but most leagues the playoffs start next week. But we're gonna, we want to get people ready, get in the mindset, make some transactions. We're gonna talk about your anxiety, which you're such a chill guy. I don't know why would I phrase arrogance is in the air, but
I'm so chill.
You are so relaxed as a human. And then I'm going to ask you about some players. Kind of like rate your panic on them as they head into the fantasy playoffs and 1 week before the fantasy playoffs. We'll talk about fantasy handcuff priority, like the players running backs who we would be adding if we had the chance. The bye weeks are going to be over after week 14. And then also you get to do the thing you love to do. The thing, if I let you do it, you would do it every single week. It would just be schedule review every single week. Have you seen it? It's 2 months away, but have you seen their matchup? Well, it's not 2 months away anymore. So we'll look at the best streaming schedules for quarterbacks in the playoffs and streaming schedules for defenses. I will, of course, as with Jake, this time I'm reminding people before I started, don't crash your car. I will put all the information we talk about here into the show notes. All right, so ice cold players over the last 5 weeks who are still supposed to be fantasy starters, and probably in most cases they still are, but maybe you could tell me no. I've got 6 names for you. None are going to shock people. Well, maybe a couple are going to shock people, but we've talked about them a lot on the show. I'll start with the big one, the big matzo ball, as they say, Justin Jefferson. If you've got Justin Jefferson on a fantasy team that is either in the playoffs or dangling on the edge of the playoffs, I guess. Are you worried about Justin Jefferson to the point where you're looking for a reason to bench him?
So that last performance by Brosner, man, was legendary, and like an M. Night Shyamalan bad movie legendary. I don't know. We'll be talking about that on and off in the way that we used to say, man, remember when Mike White came in that day for the Jets? There were just some times where you talk about it still, but As far as Jefferson, it's really difficult sitting a guy who's going to get 10, 11 targets, and I know McCarthy's probably going to be back this week. I saw where you had him. I'm not as low, but I have him as a low too. If you got a group where you're I got Davante Adams, Waddle, and Igbuka, yeah, I'm going to sit Jefferson. But, dude, it's still his next 4 games, Chris. Washington, Dallas, Giants, Detroit, they're really good matchups. Even with, a slappy, as we say, like McCarthy, I just have a really difficult time. And I know you ranked some of these guys like Michael Wilson and people like Christian Watson ahead of Justin Jefferson. When the playoff comes, I have a really difficult time sleeping at night when I sit him and he goes into Dallas and goes 10 for 140 and 2 TDs and you get the eruption and you're like, yeah, man, I got eliminated. I played Michael Wilson. So I have him as a low two if you have awesome options. But yes, I think there's some concern, but the schedule is good.
I'm a little surprised.
I know you are.
I'm a little surprised that you aren't to the point where, like, I'm surprised that I'm not saying knowing you, I'm surprised. I'm not saying everybody should feel this way, but I think you personally, the scenario you just painted where you have Jefferson on the bench and he goes crazy, I think that would torture you. But I think it would torture you more if he does one catch for 3 yards, and you started him.
It probably wouldn't, and here's why. I know where I picked him, and I'd rather go down with the guys that I've picked in the first, second, or third round in those matchups. Look, if it was a game at Denver, I'd go, all right, this is not a great place, and I'd sit him. But like, I'm not scared of any of those matchups, and he's just so talented.
Okay, what growth? What personal growth?
I learned a lot this year, Chris.
This year, I mean, up 10 years. I think I've had a great effect on you. You are just so mellow. All right, Saquon Barkley. He's really, really, really ice cold in terms of results. Now, we sitting here know that it's not about, well, we believe. We can't know. We believe that Saquon Barkley can still play. And this is about an environment that just detonated. But he is, in terms of average fantasy points per game, the RB 33 over the last 5 weeks. I'm not ranking him as the RB 33, obviously. I'm still ranking him as a starter. If you're not thinking about sitting Jefferson, I assume you're not thinking about sitting Barkley.
No, you pitched this to me like we're in this Sting and you're trying to grift me. And like, this is the confidence game where I'm like, Chris, you and I both know, and I double checked, like, is this a trick question? You have him ranked as an RB1. I have an RB1 the rest of the way. He's still part of the Eagles, and I know they haven't looked good, especially those last 2 weeks. I know we'll get to my pick later on when we talk DraftKings, but it's still Saquon Barkley. You and I both know you're not going to sit here in Week 15 when he's playing Vegas or he's playing Washington or Buffalo, and it's the playoffs, and you're sitting him. I'm not as concerned. He's my least concern in this, and I don't want this to be also a list where you think I'm agreeing with everything. But Barkley is not one of the players that I have no concern. You said it and forget it.
I'm bringing big names, but I'm also going to bring some where you're going to have to think more. I'm trying to kind of like gradiate them down. Lamar Jackson, not been very good. I see and hear a lot of people saying, I can just watch him play and I can just tell that he's not right. Because, Lamar Jackson, I believe, over the last 5 weeks is the QB 30 on a per game fantasy point basis. I think I think when people are saying, you can just tell he's limited out there, I think they're retrofitting results. I watch these games I kind of kill myself watching these games. I go into the submarine, as we like to say, on a Sunday morning. Don't come out until Monday night. I put myself through it, and you didn't know that I had a submarine in addition to a yacht, did you?
I did not. That's really cool, man. You must be doing well.
Great acquisition. The show is just so lucrative. I can't watch him, especially these on Thanksgiving. Everybody watched him. I thought I saw him run fine. I just, Andy said it on the Wednesday show. Lamar was 2 weird calls away from 100 more yards and a touchdown. This is just like he got pass interference in his favor a couple of times that took away yards, and then the Zay Flowers offensive interference should have been a long touchdown. It was a stupid call, bad call. All that said, I'm a little dubious of the people who say they just have the voodoo power of looking at TV and knowing that Lamar Jackson's foot or hamstring hurts. But by the same token, he's the QB 30. So, that's not good.
So, there's very few people, I think, at the quarterback position that can single-handedly win you weeks. And he falls into that, right? It's him. It's Josh Allen. If Jaden Daniels was healthy, if Hurts was right. It's a really short list. And, again, I have a difficult time, for example, the Bengals in Week 15. I know we just saw it this week.
Yeah. I'm not even wanting to be the guy who wants to sit Lamar. I'm also not ranking Lamar like he's Lamar exactly.
No,
I'm putting him 11 this week with Drake May on bye. Like I'm telling people to sit Lamar Jackson this week, kinda.
I think my feeling is this: if you have another option and you're in a playoffs game, right, and it gets to be 4 o'clock, and you're like, all right, I need 16 or 17 points, I'm looking right now at the schedule, and you have
Brissett, Love,
Brissett,
Caleb Williams,
right, and it's Brissett. It's week 17, and it's at the Bengals, and you need 16 points, and you don't feel great about Lamar at Green Bay. Yeah, I get it. I have a difficult time again when it's the Bengals. In week 15, I know we just saw it, but like
I just saw it. Yeah,
I know we just saw it, but you feel fine doing it. I know you don't have him anymore in La Liga. You dealt him. That's a whole nother story. But like, I think you have to go game by game and look at, like, if you have Baker Mayfield and you need 16 points and Lamar's playing at Green Bay, I'm probably sitting Lamar, and I'm like, Mayfield is probably safe for 250 and a couple of TDs. Stafford, yeah, I get it. So I think you have to look at your team. Now, if you need 35 points to win, I'm probably putting Lamar Jackson in and hoping he's doing 75 rushing and a TD in one of those games, and the over-unders are typically in the high 40s to low 50s with him. So I'm going each week and knowing what I need. Does that make sense?
It does, and I of course want to emphasize the thing that it feels like the show has like largely been about over the past few years. It's like this revelation of a thing to say out loud in this world, which is you don't have to decide in your week 17 lineup right now. Mm-hmm. You just decide that in week 17. And so you're right. You're absolutely right. He, for me, falls in the middle ground of, I kind of want to keep seeing it. And I got to be honest, this week, if I had Jacoby Brissett, I probably would play Jacoby Brissett. And it's against the Rams, and I don't love it, but I have him 10 and 11 in my ranks, and so I'm just going to be honest. Lamar's not producing, and you keep saying this Bengals matchup is good. I just saw it, and he didn't produce. All right. Names that are a little less no-brainer, I think. You love yourself some DK Metcalf. You've always loved him. That's an easier one to be worried about.
Yeah. Incredibly worried. I wrote, yes, scared, a bullet. The QB situation, I think, is a cesspool right now. And even before the injuries, I mean, he was kind of surviving. We discussed this around trade deadline with like some funny TDs. They're not, he's catching wide receiver screens, taking them down the sideline for 100-something yards, but 5 weeks in a row, Chris, under 50 yards. Rodgers, whether he's playing or not, or it's Rudolph, this is like, they're not taking shots down the field. You're watching how that offense is played. I think that he's an easy sit. I would put him ahead of, I'd rather use guys like A.D. Mitchell. I'd rather use Troy Franklin, Jacoby Myers. So I think unless you have no other options, like, I think DK Metcalf is a high 4, low 3 right now in that offense.
And again, we can change our minds based on something new that we see, but this has been a long pattern, and you got to play the odds, and doesn't feel like he's in a position to do a lot. I have him wide receiver 37 for the week, which is about in the neighborhood that you're talking about. And the place where he's done damage has been the red zone. That, of course, can happen. I don't think if you're looking at, DK Metcalf or Trey Tucker, like, no, I'm going to ride with Metcalf because there's a chance he does what he's done a few times that he did well in September. But, early in the season, they were taking deep shots to him. And my God, they're definitely not doing that now. All right. I put him low on the list. It's a big name. But he's not performing like a big name. If his name wasn't Ashton Genty, would people feel pressure to have him in lineups? If he wasn't this mega hyped player, if he was just Johnny Stormfoot? That's really what?
That's
Johnny
a pretty
Stormfoot?
Good name too, man. I would want Stormfoot in my name. I'd love to send that text out like, yo, dude, you see Stormfoot? He took off for 50. All right, go on.
Johnny Stormfoot, again, the running back for the Raiders. Like, if he was just some random dude, would you feel pressure to put him in a lineup given how this has looked?
I wouldn't feel pressured. I guess it's interesting to see him catch 20 balls over the last 3 weeks and be using the passing game. But my God, Chris, that's like the worst offensive line in the NFL. You watch every game. I assume the Raiders are the worst team to watch, right, on tape? Top 3? Like them, the Browns are brutal. Yeah,
Titans are bad on offense, and Browns are bad, and
Like, I think of the 3 playoff weeks, I think home Denver, and that is not a good one, but like 16 and 17, Chris, or I think is it 16? He's got it's 15 and 16. It's at Philly and at Houston. Like, that's brutal.
These next 3 are all terrible. Yeah,
I know. And I looked at that and I said, if someone asked me, Josh, hey, it's week 16. I got Genty and I have Woody Marks, and they're playing each other. Who do you like? And it's in Houston. I'm like, I think I would be fine if you said I'd rather play Woody Marks in that week. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't feel the urge to play Genty. And I know that this is not the NBA. I'm curious what happens in week 16 if the Raiders are completely done. Like, are they still giving him 25 touches? Like, is he getting 16, 17 carries and 6 catches? Or just like, yeah, just save him for next year? I know this is not the NBA where they shut people down and they're like, yeah, you're hurt. Wink, wink. Like, you and I had a nice text battle last night where I just gave you the passive aggressive thumbs up. You're like, yeah, you think I'm like, no, dude, he's just doing his soft act until he's gone. He's not hurt.
I mean, and I still have Genty ranked in the top 20 this week, and Barron said it on Wednesday. Like, we're regurgitating on names that we've already talked about this week, but not on the free side. And also, there's only so many names to talk about this late in the season. Yes, Andy's point is right. Like, 20 touches is worth something. That's currency that you can't get out of whoever, Chris Rodriguez. I'm probably not going to do it. So it matters. You're always balancing usage and also I don't think we think that Johnny Stormfoot stinks. I don't think we think he's bad. We just think he's trapped in a disaster situation where he just can't even get going. And all these, wow, great job on the pass catching. They're all like emergency dump offs where he's getting clobbered in 2 yards. So it is not a no-brainer. I think it's a hard balance. I like your answer. I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
This is lower on the receiver list, clearly, but I mean, he was a flag player and he started the season so well, and now he's been jockeying back and forth with Alec Pierce. And you got 2 games ago against the Chiefs, Pittman really kind of reasserted himself, and we were like, oh, is it going back to the way it was in September? And then immediately it's back to Michael Pittman feeling like kind of an afterthought. So in this world of wide receiver 3 and the infinite sadness, are you looking for a reason to get out of the Pittman business?
I think it's probably week specific, kind of like the Lamar thing. I mean, Pierce had that sensational catch. Like, I think he's a really impressive player. And I know we talked about him a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I'm quite ready to crown him better than Pittman, but like I'm getting close there. But I think when you have Pittman and Pierce and you still have Ty Warren in there, like there's 3 options in an offense that I think is probably going to be heavy Jonathan. I can't remember, Jonathan Taylor over the next couple of weeks.
Johnny Taylor.
Yeah, so like I think I look at it and go, week 15 at Seattle, like I'm probably sitting Pittman if I have okay options. But like, you want to play him this week versus Jags? Like, I'm fine with it, but I just think he's in infinite sadness, like you said. I think those are the matchups where I'm probably looking at, and I hate doing it this way, but what does Vegas think is going to be like a 52-53 over-under? Like, what do I think is going to be a back and forth? Because I don't want to get caught. What you're going to get probably with Pittman on some of these games is 3 for 38. Like, if he doesn't score the TD, you're going to get 3-4 catches, it feels like, and it's just so difficult to predict. Like, there's no consistency, I think, right now with what you're going to get from Pittman.
A quick break to thank Chubbies for sponsoring. We know Chubbies is the home of the best swimsuits in the world, simply the best looking, the coolest, the longest lasting, the most variety. We also know Chubbies as the home of officially licensed NFL merch, swim trunks, stretch polos, and mesh shorts with your favorite team's logo on them. I mean, that would be enough. That is some great holiday gift ideas right there. And now, Chubbies also has flannel overshirts, everywhere pants, winterproof jackets, a full-body puffer jacket, all really great stuff, and another place where you can find wonderful gift ideas or get a gift card and let your giftee pick what they like. Around here, we recommend the swimsuits, and we gave away some NFL Chubbies merch this summer. That stuff is really great, and for a limited time, I can get you 20% off your purchase at chubbiesshorts.com when you use the code Harris at checkout. Of course, if their huge Black Friday sale is still going on, skip the code, get the huge markdown. You can certainly tell them that we sent you. Either way, you gotta look at Chubbies. Check it out, chubbiesshorts.com. Use that code Harris. All right, we're back with Josh. Josh, I just did the Chubbies read, and I know we mentioned this last month, but you got some loot from Chubbies, and I was mentioning the flannel overshirt, and I thought if it was all right with you, I would just once again help you emphasize for the sponsor who's been so kind to us how much you like the shirt.
Yeah, first I'll say I used to be just a big trunks guy with them, and then over the last few years, I was an innovator, a pioneer. I had chubbies about 12 years ago, but anyway, no, the overshirt is great, incredibly soft. It's a full button down, but I have a large upper chest area, and it still fits me well. Large pecs. I'm doing a lot of bench these days, but if you've seen my Instagram, you can confirm. But yeah, Chubby's overshirt. I got only positive stuff to say. Incredibly soft, all of their materials. You're loving this, right?
I am, but I'm trying to imagine me trying to wear the size shirt that you have. I wouldn't fit. You'd have to stitch two of those shirts together to fit me.
Oh, that's Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, fat guy in a little shirt. It's just you'd basically put it on and it would just your arms would just go right through it.
I mean, I've been benching a fair amount myself, and I think we could both say, through no fault of your own, I bench a little more than you do.
Yeah,
so it's a little size difference.
One of us is 5'4", 130 pounds. So.
Exactly. All right. Another thing I have to put you through, less pleasant than talking about chubbies.
Get it over with, man.
Oh boy. I mean, you weren't even on the show last week, and still, and you were kind enough in your travels and your figuring stuff out with family and all the driving. I was like, hey, give me a pick. I'm even going to run it by Scott Fish on the show. Give me a pick against the spread. And you said you said Eagles -7.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is just simply the curse of, I mean, how is it possible they lose outright? And this has happened to you 3 times in the last 4 weeks. It's unbelievable. But we're back at it again. I did have the Bills. That was it didn't look like a good call at halftime, but it worked out okay. So we're headed into week 14 on DraftKings. Is there a point spread that you like that the listening audience can now desperately fade?
I mean, there's no point spreads I like. It's of course you play poker. It's called being on tilt, Chris. And I think I said to you, if you asked me to pick all of these games, I'd pick them more right than wrong. There's no favorite games anymore. So you just look at this, and I said to you, there's so many bad teams playing bad teams this week, and there's massive spreads. But there's one that I thought was probably 2 points off. And I said, I think I like the Bears on the road getting 6.5. It seems high. I thought that was going to be 4.5 when I looked at it. Huge matchup. Bears still top seed, coming off that big win versus the Eagles. So I think they play a competitive game. I'm not sure they win, but 6.5 feels like a lot. So Bears plus 6.5 at Green Bay.
You're a believer. They burned you, and you're a big enough man to say, you know what? I believe. I saw that run game work, and I think it'll work again. And so
it's coming here, right? Caleb Williams' nightmare game.
40-0.
Yeah.
I think you'd, if you want to be on any side in that game, I think you'd want to be on the side that got points. I agree with that. I don't think it would be my top pick, but I actually think I would take the Jags at home. I think plus 1.5. I think that's an even money game, or maybe even the Jags should be favored. Like, I don't think they're great. I really don't think the Colts are great. I think the Colts have been too easy to run on since the nose tackle's been out. The Jags seem like they're going to get Walker back. He's back at practice. There's a possibility the safety's back for Jacksonville too. Again, you said it right. Like, there's not 5 or 6 points of edge in these point spreads. It's a very efficient market at DraftKings, but I would have expected that to be maybe Jags favored by 1. So I'm kind of surprised that they're a 1.5 underdog. So I think I would be picking Jacksonville. Per usual, if you would like to indulge in any of these, we do appreciate DraftKings for sponsoring us for basically 11 seasons now. Not basically, 11 seasons they've been sponsoring. If you want to sign up at DraftKings Sportsbook, use the code Harris. There's a nice bonus. Once you make one $5 bet, you get some bonus bets put into your account. But anyway, we just do it because we want to embarrass Josh with a point spread pick. Let me play a little disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, so as the next part of our fantasy playoff preview is running back handcuff priority, which I am also going to partake in, just so that we make sure we get all the names and like come to a general agreement of the order. I'll just tell you. So my criteria for this list was players, and I did not make this requirement for you, but players that are rostered in like 2/3 of leagues or more, like Yahoo leagues. I was going to call them not really handcuffs. So like Kyle Monangai, as much as he's like 70-something% owned or whatever, high 60s, he's startable. Like he's clearly startable. So it's hard for me to say he's a DeAndre Swift handcuff. And Zach Charbonnet, Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson, Jordan Mason, these guys are owned in most competitive leagues. And so I didn't include them in my list, but if you did, that's totally fine.
I did not include any of those guys. You said them quickly,
Okay.
but I think I looked really quickly as you were doing that, and I did not have them on here.
We'll go through them anyway, and we'll just... So, the reason we're doing it at this time is this is the moment when you can finally start bailing on backup quarterbacks and backup defenses. Don't ever do that, but, you might. Like... fifth receiver, sixth receiver, like you can start bailing on guys that you're not going to use in the next few weeks and you need to handcuff some running backs. I'll just ask you, given the criteria that we just established where we're not, to be honest, my answer wouldn't change for this question, even if we were allowed to use Zach Charbonnet. Who would be your number one running back handcuff, the guy that you must handcuff to?
I have Blake Corum as my one.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think I have
him as my 4.
Okay, I probably know who your one is. We'll get to that. I don't know. Look, I think I probably gave this guy the bump because that offense, I think, is just so concentrated, and I've seen what happens when someone gets the full touches in that Sean McVay offense.
Yeah.
That was the reason for my one. I think I'd rather have him than the next two guys I'm going to say, and I think there's a little bit of a tier. Do you want me to give you my 2, 3, and then kind of take a quick stop? I had Tyler Algier, although I think people are flexing him already. I think, he'll be a free agent. I mean, he's already scoring and playing as a flex now. And then my 3 was Brian Robinson.
Yeah. So Algier is rostered in 41% of Yahoo leagues, which seems crazy to me. So if you have Bijan Robinson, go check and see. He'd be my top choice. Not that I think that offense is as good as these other offenses, but I just know what it looks like when one running back gets all the work. There's a lot of running back work there. So I would put Algier number 1, but understanding that it's not the most luscious of environments. My 2 is actually Emmanuel Wilson. If only because I just saw it, I think, I'm shocked that so many people dropped Emmanuel Wilson. I'm looking right now. What's his ownership percentage? 34%. It just seems crazy to me. If you have Josh Jacobs, please see if Emmanuel Wilson... You're right. We are, of course, we're talking handcuffs. So anybody listening, they don't care who Blake Corum's is on this list if they don't have Kyron Williams. You don't need to be racing out and get Blake Corum if you don't have Kyron Williams. It's not a good use of your roster spot. But a lot of people out there have Josh Jacobs who are listening. Make sure Emmanuel Wilson. We are currently talking about the players who would be like borderline RB1s if the starters got hurt.
Yeah. Not to jump ahead, I had Emmanuel Wilson as my number 4. So you and I are kind of calibrated in there.
Yeah.
You want me to throw some others in there?
Yeah, I had I should just say I had Brian Robinson 3. So our top 4 were the same. And I have to say that even if you let me put Monangai on this list,
yeah,
that's stupid. He's like practically the starter. So, but if you let me put Monangai on the list, he'd probably be the one. But let's just, assume he's in any competitive league. He's long since not there. We have the same. I don't think my answer would change for Charbonnet or a Chuba Hubbard or a Jordan Mason. I would want, as a handcuff, I would want these 4 guys inheriting the role to themselves.
Yeah. After that, I had a little bit of a tear break. I had Kenny Gainwell on here. I don't think he's rostered that heavily, is he?
No, and he's really low on my list. He's like,
yeah.
I don't think he's good.
I know. I think the Steelers are bad. The problem is he gets used so much in that passing game. They dump off the ball to him, and I've seen what he does.
He's
if
59,
Warren is at
59%, so higher than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. He was my 5. It's funny. I have Ray Davis as my 6, but like, I wonder if we were to see Cook go down, would he get the full capacity? That's my only concern. Is I think he
didn't even make my list. I just think if I have James Cook, I don't think he has a handcuff. It sucks, but I kind of don't think he has a handcuff because it would be Ty Johnson. You know,
That's the
they
thing
already
where I
used
get concerned.
Ty Johnson so much. My 5 was Cartavius, Tank Bigsby.
I had him as 10.
Okay. I mean, again, we're beyond the must range. Well, maybe we're not for me. For you, if you have Barkley, do you feel compelled? I need to go get Bigsby. Is he in the must?
No, and I guess look, I think he'd be used over Shipley.
Yeah, me too.
But again, I think that could end up being like a 65-35 split with Bigsby on the Eagles, and I'm like, I don't know. I had two or three others on here. I'm curious what Ollie Gordon would look like in Miami, who's been playing decent lately.
I mean, well, not on 4th down when they almost lost the game. Jalen Wright plays. I just think it would be a disgusting split.
It would.
He didn't make my list. So just so I have the order correct, Gainwell, Davis, Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct for you?
Okay. I had
and then
I have 2 honorable mentions.
Well, you Corum Al. I want to write it down correctly in the show notes. Corum Algier, Robinson Wilson, Gainwell Davis. Is that right so far?
Yes.
Gordon is next. 7.
Yep.
Who's next?
8. I have Sean Tucker on here.
All right.
Okay, and like you're going, whatever. Here's my thing, Chris.
Sure.
I believe if Bucky were to go down, I think Tucker's their primary back, and I know he's not going to get the 3rd down usage, but I think he would get more carries than Rachaad White, and I saw it for a couple of weeks. So I have Tucker on here, and I think that'd be a good offense to have. And then I have 2 last ones. Can I give them to you?
Do it.
Do you have Samaje Perine on yours?
No.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world I'm going to have a fantasy playoff game where I'm starting Samaje Perine.
Let me give you my real deep fun one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And I actually have this guy. I've had him rostered for 6-7 weeks. So you can go, Josh, really? I have Isaiah Davis on here, and just let me just. Okay, I know you're going, oh God. For one reason, Week 16 at New Orleans. If Hall were not to play for whatever reason, I think he would get a decent amount of carries and be useful in a pinch. I'm not saying like, oh, you have to have him. We're talking about desperation. But I think if Hall were to be out, I think he would cost you money on the waiver wire.
So the musts end for you where?
Man. I think after
Tucker?
Yeah. Gordon would be really interesting, but I'd really have to look at their schedule, and I haven't seen enough from him in that role to know, like you said, Jalen Wright. And, my Week 15 at Dallas, I could maybe stomach it, but, like, I wouldn't feel great about Ollie Gordon at, it's Cincinnati. It's Week 16. Yeah, probably you said Tucker.
Okay. So the rest of my list after Bigsby goes Bashal Tootin. I'm surprised you didn't mention Tootin. He's actually not rostered. Would he? Maybe you just didn't know he wasn't rostered.
I just assumed he was rostered. Yeah.
42%. Where would he slide in for you?
Maybe after Wilson. I think I'd have him 5.
Okay. So I'll put that on the list too. I think if you have ETN, you should be adding Tootin, no question. I think Devin Singletary on by right now, but we just saw it. Tyron Tracy is hurt, and we just saw Singletary. Like, I don't think the Patriots' run defense is great, but I think if you have, you might make the switch, let alone you might drop Tracy for him. But Singletary makes the list for me. Gainwell makes the list for me, and I'll say, just if RJ Harvey gets hurt, Jaleel McLaughlin, I think you could probably, as a last roster spot, if you have Harvey, if you were living with Dobbins and now you have Harvey, that's it for me. That's the end. There's no other. I wouldn't. If I had Breece Hall, I'm just going to suffer. If I have Chase Brown, I'm just going to suffer. Like I can't find it. All right. So the last thing I want to ask you is your favorite thing in the world, which is
streaming.
Your favorite. This is Week 15, Week 16, and the Week 17 schedule analysis. So streaming quarterbacks for the playoffs. Pick the quarterbacks that you would feel comfortable streaming those weeks.
All right. And again, I didn't put anyone on here. Like, I'm not going to Brock Purdy. Like, I didn't put people on here that I thought like people would probably have. So I'll give you a couple in each one of these. You ready?
Great. I'm ready.
Week 15. There's no way at this point, and maybe he is owned. Is Stroud owned in a high percentage? I can't imagine he is.
Nope. 41%.
Yeah. Home, Arizona, Week 15. I like that. I like Trevor Lawrence home Jets. Do we know what his percentage is week 15?
I don't know what it will be on week 15, but right now it's 58%. I would consider that to be
Okay.
Streamable territory. It's all right. I can put it
Okay,
into the
and
list.
I'll give you one last one that's even lower, and he'll probably be 30%. In a real pinch, you got a deep league, you're in a real competitive league like I always am. Bryce Young at New Orleans is not a brutal play either if you were really in a bad place week 15.
I'm a little scared of it because I think New Orleans'
I know.
defense is okay,
I know.
but no
I was
question
gonna
is available.
I was going to say Tyler Shackley and go the other way.
All right, week 16.
All right. I think Brissett is too owned at this point to say home Atlanta, right?
Jacoby
can't
Brissett
count
is
that.
64%. Yeah, let's not count that.
So I have Stroud again. If you want to use him 2 weeks, he's home Vegas. I think that's another nice one.
Great.
I'll give you 2 other fun ones. How about Tua home Bengals? That's going to be a high over-under week 16.
All right.
And here's my last fun one. Only because he could rush. Real pinch, deep league. How about Tyrod Taylor at New Orleans week 16?
Just want to pick on those dang Saints.
Again, I'm not saying they're bad, but I think that's one where he could throw for 200. He doesn't really turn the ball over, run for 30 or 40, and in a pinch maybe pick up 6.
You think I'm gonna sit? I would fix my mouth to sit here and doubt you. This is you're built for this.
Okay.
How about week 17?
So, if Mariota is still Marcus Mariota, if Mariota is starting, I don't mind playing him versus Dallas week 17. And again, I'm not, Chris, let's be real. I'm not going into my bowl. I'm not going to be thrilled about this. But again, catastrophe hits.
Right.
Mariota, Dallas. Yeah.
Right.
I think you can go both ways in the Titans Saints game. And how about this one? How about Cam Ward? Home Saints. You're in your bowl. I know you're laughing. I'm just saying, before this past week, he ran for 30 yards each time. Like, again, maybe they're healthy. It's one of these funny games. I don't love that, but you're asking me to give you some fun ones.
That's
I
right.
don't think he's going to meet the criteria, but maybe people are hating on him after the 2 weeks. By week 17, is Darnold at that 60% range?
He's at 54 right now, so
I love that. At Carolina. They're going to be playing competitive games. Yeah.
that's week 17.
That's week 17. That's your bowl.
So you would start Cam Ward over him if you had the
No,
choice between the two.
if I had the option, I'm taking Darnold.
Okay.
I just didn't know he'd be my number one pick in that one.
Okay. All right.
Can I
All
give
right.
you one last one? Purdy's definitely over 60%, right?
I actually don't think let me look. I'm checking in real time. No, he is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Even in a bye week, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say he's got the Titans in 15 and the Bears in 17, and I plan on using him in my home league.
Brutal. All right, and then we'll go quicker on the defenses so we can get you out of here.
Yeah.
Week 15.
All right, 15, Bears home Cleveland.
I think the Bears might be more owned than you think.
Don't lie to me.
Don't lie to you. Let's see. What I'll ask you the question. What ownership? No, the Bears are fine. You're fine on the Bears. What ownership percentage should it be below? You get to pick your own range, and I'll tell you whether they're above it or below.
I think 50%.
Okay, they're well under. So Bears it is. Chicago.
Yeah.
What do they do in Week 15?
Home Cleveland.
All right.
You could give me the Jags home Jets. They got to be around 50.
They are good. You're good to go. I'll tell you if they're over 50.
This one could be just because they go by name recognition. Are the Steelers over 50?
The Steelers are over 50.
Okay, because I was going to say home Miami in a cold weather game. People could be down on them if Baltimore hangs up another number here. But the first two I know are good. All right, Week 16, you ready?
Yes,
Are the Bills over 50? That defense has not been good.
they are over 50.
Oh my God, people are really on them just because their name's the Bills. All right, give me this. There's no chance this is the Giants or home Minnesota.
They are definitely okay.
I think that could be a fun one, right? You get McCarthy, he comes out there and throws 3-4 picks. They hang up like a 17 with a defensive touchdown on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, Week 17, I'm doing the exact thing again. Maybe it's McCarthy. Give me the Lions at Minnesota. Minnesota could be playing for nothing, even though the Lions might not be either.
Lions are unfortunately 57% roster.
All right. How about this one? Giants again at Vegas. Hilarious offensive line. You take down Geno Smith for 5 sacks and you turn him over twice.
You
And
know,
I'll give you one last one.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Dallas home Washington, week 17.
All right. I'm just frantically writing them all down so they can be in the show notes so people can check them out. And you've given people a roadmap, especially if they are willing to indulge the Giants. CJ Stroud and the Giants are your 2 big streaming recommendations. I'm sure that sounds great.
Dude. I love it.
All right, man. Fun show. I appreciate you being on and being a good sport. And we'll put all of these in today's show notes. And then you'll be back next week. But we won't be previewing something that is already underway. Oh, no. Next week, we're previewing something much longer term. Do you know what it is?
Next year's first round?
Next year's first round. The top 12 picks for next year. This is not your prediction for this is what you would do. Yeah. Top 12 picks for 2026. That'll be the topic next week with Josh on the show. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for doing it.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much for listening. Let me thank the 3 sponsors that made today's show possible. 3 wonderful holiday gift ideas if you happen to be in the market for such a thing. If there's someone on your list you think might enjoy some Thursday boots, or maybe some Chubby's swim trunks, or that flannel overshirt we were talking about, or some NFL merch. I bet you've got some NFL fans. There's some wonderful NFL clothing there at Chubby's. And Manscaped, a really fun gift and very, very useful. I have a lot of Manscaped stuff. It lasts. It's great. I got like a little bonus Manscaped delivered to me. Sometimes they just send you stuff. I gave it to Jeff Erickson to say thank you for coming on the show. So yes, we love all 3, Thursday Boots, Manscaped, and Chubby's. You can find details about them in today's show notes. All the current sponsors are listed at harrisfootball.com. I appreciate how well you do support the sponsors. There's no way this show would exist without that support. I do thank you so much for that. And that's going to do it for this first, I guess you'd say, abbreviated week. I didn't feel that abbreviated at the beginning of the week when I was in the submarine, but we had Thursday off from the show, and that'll be the pattern the next couple weeks as well. Coming up on Sunday, I will be there for the Yacht Club live stream. If you're in the Yacht Club, you'll get an email that gives a link where we do a YouTube live stream for an hour and talk about your lineups leading up to kickoff, play some guitar, that kind of thing. Then we'll all meet back here on Monday. We'll talk about the Week 14 game film. That process will start with the great Matt Harmon from Yahoo Fantasy. Until then, thanks again so much for listening. Your hat is awesome. You're awesome for wearing it. I will talk to you on Monday.
The Harris Football Podcast's opening theme is Under the Gun by Apex Manor. The closing theme is Say Yes by The Wellspring. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and never miss an episode.